Hey, what's going on, you guys? I'm finally back on camera. I know it's been a while, and I know this video is hella delayed. A lot of things were going on in the past week, and I honestly got absolutely no sleep before I got to watch the episode. And I've kind of just been sitting, on it for a minute, but it's finally here, and you're gonna get it tonight. So we're here at Black Lightning. What is this, episode 4 or episode 3? Oh gosh. Episode, I don't know, but the title of the episode is Lawanda, the Book of Burial. Okay, so this follows up right after the episode, the last episode when Lawanda, she used to be one of Pierce's students, and then she had her daughter, and she was trying to fight for her daughter to try and get her away from the 100 because she, was very, very sure that, she was being pimped out by them and everything. And then she ended up getting herself shot by Lala when she tried to confront him on the issue. So now we're at the funeral at a church. We're introduced to the Reverend. His name is Jeremiah. And, he has this kind of thing where he doesn't believe that the police are doing what they could be doing in order to stop this whole situation with the 100, with the gang violence and all the extra crime that's been going on in the neighborhood. And he proposes a march. So that's his story. Pretty much the entire, pretty much his whole purpose in the entire episode is to rally up, all of the citizens in the town in order to get this march started. A march to kind of raise awareness for what's going on, and also to kind of let everybody know that they mean business. I mean, I guess that's what it really is. I don't, the thing is, the march, I'm not really so sure as to exactly why the march was done in this specific situation. Yeah, you can raise awareness, but for the life of me, I feel like everybody in the neighborhood is very much aware of what's going on. It's just that the police department really is not doing that much, and I feel like there's a lot of corruption. I mean, we've seen it in the last episode. We saw it because Tobias was able to go in and shoot Lala right in the jail. He was able to go right in. The police officers and the CEOs, they let him right in, and he was able to kill him. It just, that just shows you how corrupt it really is and how much power the 100 really has. At the same time that, he's giving his sermon and stuff about the 100 and everything, we get Anissa. She's in this junkyard, and she's like testing out her powers and stuff. She's recently discovered that she has some type of abilities, but when it first happens, you're kind of like in a denial stage. So she's still kind of in that denial stage, and she's kind of curious about what might happen if she tries to do it, and she's trying to move this like washing machine or whatever, and she's not able to do it. Her powers don't actually activate until a rush of adrenaline comes through and she's about to be crushed by something, and then she's able to throw the washing machine across the yard, which was actually really, really cool. I'm really loving Anissa as a character so far. Throughout the episode, she's trying to kind of research how she could have gotten these abilities. She's wondering, if it's something that's genetic, hereditary, something she inherited from, one of her ancestors behind in her family. As that's going on, we also get to see Tobias again. I'm telling you, Tobias, he's a character to me that's really interesting, because it on one hand, it's like, he's like the baddest bad guy ever, and he just doesn't have any mercy or anything like that. But then on the other hand, he also has some type of morals, because you even saw in the last episode, he went and told Lala, you're a coward for killing a defenseless mother and all that stuff, and yeah, you got sloppy and everything. We don't just mercilessly kill and all that stuff. So I'm a little on the fence about how I feel about Tobias, but I mean, he's still obviously the villain in this, but you get what I'm saying. So anyway, we see him, and he's with his his right hand bitch, and that crazy girl that be the guns and everything. He's in like this chateau and whatever, and they take him to this office, and lo and behold, Lady Eve. We're introduced to Lady Eve, played by Miss Jill Scott. I was done when I first saw her. I was like, I'm like, is that Jill Scott? I was like, okay, girl, I was like, get your money, get your checks. You know, for some reason, I'm like, Jill Scott stays paid. It doesn't matter what she's doing. But anyway, so we're introduced to Lady Eve, and it seems that Tobias is like reporting to Lady Eve rather than, you know, him being the head. Because we, you know, when we were first introduced to Lala, I thought Lala at first was like kind of leader, but he didn't seem like he would really be the one to be running everything in the city. So then we're introduced to Tobias, and Tobias, he seemed more like he was like the big boss or whatever, because he was kind of giving everybody else orders. But then in this scene, it seems like Lady Eve is the one who is really running things. And it seems like she's very well connected. I mean, this huge compound that she lives in, and that she's operating out of. And then, of course, the control that she actually has over Tobias. And, you know, she's telling him things, what they should be doing, and how all of her connections, like she has connections here and there, and people are telling her about this march that's going down and everything, and she wants him to stop the march. And so all of this is going on. So Lady Eve is probably the real boss of everything going on. Maybe there's somebody above her. I don't know. We'll see. So that's that. I really want to see what happens with Lady Eve, because she seems like she's gonna be that one. Like, I feel like she's gonna be the one to really take this show somewhere. Like, we've been introduced to villains, to antagonists so far, but I feel like the ones that you know the least about are the ones that are gonna really surprise you in the end. So we'll see about what happens with Lady Eve. Now, you know, continuing on, one storyline that is really prominent in this, and I find really funny, we're going to focus on it for a second, is Jennifer. Now, Jennifer and Khalil, you know, her now boyfriend, they are kind of talking a little bit about sex and kind of having it and planning when they will have it and where they will have it. You know, he said, you know, I got this, you know, I got reservations at this place or whatever, and we can go here and chill, and then we can, you know, do it. And she's like, oh, you got condoms? He's like, yeah. And then, like, I'm like, okay. So they're like really like going for it. I was like, that was quick. But I mean, they've known each other for a while. They've been like kind of best friends, and best friends turn to lovers now. So, I mean, I guess so. Later on, Jennifer, she comes down, you know, for dinner, and then and she goes and she actually announces to them that she's like, so I'm ready to have sex. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? The fact that she just comes out and just tells them that she wants to have sex. And she tells them, yeah, I think I'm going to do it this weekend. And they're like, what? What's going on? I was just like, this is not awkward at all. This is not awkward. But okay. That whole entire thing is hilarious in my opinion. I just found it to be really good, and China did a good job of just being so nonchalant, and she's actually good at that, because I've seen her, obviously I watched her on TV since like House of Pain and stuff, and she's always really good with delivery when it comes to like shock value. She's always really good at being nonchalant in the face of like really kind of awkward territory, and she's good at those awkward situations. She handles it so well. I saw it a lot also in Ant Farm and stuff. So I like that. I like that. And it really kind of brought out that side of her acting that a lot of people really don't get to see that much. I liked it. It was good. Okay, at the same time, you know, they were asking about, you know, where's Anissa, and is Anissa not coming, and all that stuff. Jennifer said, oh, you know, since Anissa doesn't have to be here, doesn't mean I have to. He's like, yeah. That being the younger child thing, it gets annoying, but I mean, I wouldn't really know that much about that. While they are sitting around eating and talking about Jennifer's first sexual experience, Anissa's at the library doing some research. That's not the best team. So yeah, Anissa's at the library. She's doing some research, and like I said before, she's doing some research on genetic mutation and everything. And then all of a sudden, here comes this girl. Her name is Grace. Okay, she meets Grace, and she's, you know, kind of talking to her about what she's trying to research, and if people like have like special abilities and stuff. And she's like, oh, why not try comic books? And we find that Grace is actually kind of like a comic book nerd, which I am in love with. I immediately fell in love with Grace's character for some odd reason. I feel like because she's like the nerd that I am on the inside, that most of the time comes out on the outside. But then we get a little bit of an Easter egg, kind of like a nod to one of the other DC comics. So she tells her about like the Outsiders comic, and it's really weird that they're mentioning the Outsiders in this because it's kind of like an Easter egg, but at the same time, it's also kind of breaking the fourth wall. Because if you know anything about the Outsiders, if you don't know, the Outsiders is kind of like a superhero team. That's kind of it's made up of metahumans, so like superheroes with actual superpowers. And it was formed by like Batman, and they kind of don't fit the norms of like the main superhero team, like the Justice League. They kind of operate kind of in the shadows. Their powers are kind of unusual and everything, and they don't have like the upright reputation as the Justice League does have. And it's funny that they actually mention the Outsiders because of the fact that Black Lightning was part of the original lineup of the Outsiders, and then Thunder came in later, which is Anissa technically, and Nightwing and Arsenal and people like Geoforce and Halo, all those people were a part of the Outsiders. So it's kind of weird that they're bringing the Outsiders, like they're kind of making a nod towards the comic book in the actual universe that comic book takes place technically. I don't know if they're ever going to bring that out, but that's just, kind of how it is. But yeah, anyway, she's talking to her about the comic book and everything, and it seems, I was looking at them like, hold on, don't you have a girlfriend? Grace invites Anissa to this kind of cosplay party. Like, you can dress up like any like superhero you want to, or just put on a costume and come and have a good time. Anissa agrees to go. Now I saw this like little thing, and I'm like, doesn't she have a girlfriend? And they have this connection already. We're seeing all of these like these news reports and news stories and everything, and everybody saw Ken talking about Black Lightning and about what he did and about how he saved whatever people, and it seems like Black Lightning is kind of at the center of hope and the issue and controversy. There's just people either for Black Lightning or people against him. Obviously, the police department and the inspector and everybody, they are against Black Lightning because they're like, he's just a vigilante. He doesn't, follow the law when he's taking these bad guys down or whatever, even though they're not really doing that much themselves. And, the citizens themselves, they like Black Lightning being back. They have a lot more courage and hope and everything because Black Lightning is back, and because he's taking action where the police department won't. And it's kind of making the police feel inferior, and that's probably the reason why they're kind of attacking back, with their statements. While at the school, Lynn comes into the office and they're talking, and then she's again questioning him about Black Lightning and how he's like gonna be continuing to do this while trying to keep their family together, and it's impossible and all that stuff, and it's great and whatever. But then Lynn suggests Jen coming to live with her because of Black Lightning, because, she doesn't want Jennifer to see him all broken down and everything, and him, like, going out at odd times of the night and stuff to go fight crime and all of that. She just doesn't want her exposed to that stuff, so she suggests her coming to live with Lynn. And, obviously Pierce is like, no, she's going to stay right here at home with me. So they're at odds about that. Fast forward to another funny scene between Pierce and Khalil. So Pierce sees Khalil in the hallway, and he stops him and asks, because at this point he already knows about the whole Jennifer wanting to have sex thing, and obviously because they know now that the two of them are dating, he already knows that he's the one that she wants to have sex with. It's fine. It is what it is. But he goes and he starts questioning him, and then he asks him about how he showers. And, Khalil's like telling, I wash everywhere, whatever. and he's like, well, I don't have a mat, so I put the towel on the floor to dry my feet, and then I go and then dry my body off and stuff. He goes into kind of like details, and I was just like, what in the world is going on? And then here comes Pierce. He's like, so you take the towel, put it on the floor, and then continue to dry all your bits with the towel that came from the floor and underneath your feet. He's like, do you want? He's like, do you want to give her athlete's foot in places where athlete's feet shouldn't be? I'm like, I was out. I was so done. I lost my mind after that scene. I was cackling. That was actually really funny because, obviously he's he's a superhero, but he's also a father, and that that parental instinct kind of comes out, especially when your daughter is talking about having her first sexual experience. Fast forward to the cosplay party. Anissa, she is getting it in. You see Anissa, she's getting in with Grace, and they like dancing together and everything. And here comes that girlfriend of hers that I was talking about. She rolls up, so like, hey, I'm over here. And she's like, oh, Miss Black Lives Matter is cheating on me with an Asian. I said, stop it. Stop it. Oh God. Which leads me to this. It's kind of like an issue that has been coming around, because you have a lot of people out here that are very pro-black and who support Black Lives Matter and all of that stuff, but then they're expected to also, stay within their own race, only date within their race and all of that stuff, when love is love is love is love. Honestly, if you can be pro-black without being, without being against everything else. And to me, you can support black issues and be, proud of your blackness and still, fall in love with anybody of any race, and it's still okay. As long as you don't denounce your own race and become blind to the real issues of being black, being a person of color in this community, it just, they kind of, I feel like it was a nod towards that. So, let me know what you guys thought about that. But, anyway, off scene, it's off camera, whatever they do, they go and she like chases after her and goes to talk to her, and then they kind of end things there. Tobias is setting up for this thwart of the march that's happening, and he calls this guy to go and kind of shoot at the crowd or whatever, and he gives him this gun, and he's like, this is what you got to do. And the guy he's enlisting, like, he's kind of hesitant. You can tell on the look on his face and how he kind of hesitates and everything. And so then Tobias kind of comes around, stabs his hand into the into the desk, and he's like, you wanted to move up in rank and everything, and if I and all this stuff, and do you want to be back to where you were or whatever. He has this thing over everybody that he has working for him. So, obviously with that kind of threat, the guy, he agrees to do whatever he says to do. The funny thing from that scene is that he told the guy to stop bleeding on his desk when he's the one who stabbed him. Tobias is the type of person that will shoot you and make you believe that it's your fault that he shot you. I just like that about his character, honestly. But anyway, so at the same time, Gambi and Jeff, they kind of know that something is going down. They know that Tobias is not going to be for it, and he's going to want to stop the march. The march is happening. He's going to want to stop the march. And so they have this like layout of the city of where the marchers are going to go and how they could kind of control where the marchers go, so that way, they can kind of monitor them and see them the entire way, so that there's nothing like that's going to really stand out to them as a surprise once Tobias does move in. I like Gambi. Like I said in the other recap and on Twitter, I actually like Gambi's character. Gambi is kind of like, he's kind of like Pierce's Alfred / Oracle / Overwatch, / he's kind of like that all around kind of jack of all trades person, that tech guy, that person who's going to give you the good advice, that fatherly advice. I really like Gambi, and I hope that we get to see a little bit more of him, because he was setting stuff up too. He was putting them roadblocks and stuff and all that. he had the whole layout of the city and everything, all the tech and everything. He needed to do a better job designing that suit. But we're gonna leave it at that. They obviously think that Tobias is gonna come and shoot the leader, which is Jeremiah, the Reverend. At first they're thinking about that, but then at the same time, they are like, Tobias is not going to be out here trying to make somebody a martyr. If they just kill the leader of the pack, then, everybody's going to revolt and become even stronger. And they're going to, use that as kind of a way to make him look like a hero. And they know that, Tobias doesn't want any heroes in this town. He wants to invoke fear. So in order to do that, how do you do that? You don't shoot the leader of the pack. You shoot the pack. So they, figure out that he's just going to probably open fire on everybody and just shoot the marchers instead. At the same time that this is going on, Jennifer, Khalil, and Lynn, they're talking about going to march, and they're talking about going to march in there too, which Pierce didn't have any idea about. So much to his surprise, when he goes out there to monitor them and he sees his family out there, so it becomes even more personal because he doesn't want his family to get hurt. And I just want to say something. Why is it that while they're marching down the street, they're just chanting free, free, free? They couldn't come up with anything else? I mean, nobody in that entire group of people could come up with anything more creative to say, more more insightful, more influential, more direct, intense. I don't know what you want to call it, but just something a little bit more. Just uttering the word free a whole bunch of times, it doesn't have an impact in my opinion, but that's just me. That's just, they probably didn't have it is what it is. They probably couldn't come up with anything else. Okay, so the guy that we saw before that is supposed to be the gunman, he comes out and tries to shoot at the crowd, but Black Lightning, he comes in right in time and thwarts the first attempt. But unfortunately, Tobias catches them off guard as they are, praising Black Lightning and then also praising God by singing Amazing Grace. While they're singing Amazing, they really thought that, it was over after the first gunman was taken down. They should have known better. But here they go. They start singing, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. I'm like, okay, that's really nice, but you guys, you're still in the danger zone. And Tobias catches them off guard. His crazy hoe, she goes and shoots the daggone, she shoots the Reverend. And also, unfortunately, Khalil gets caught in the blast, so he also gets injured. He also gets shot. So they get rushed to the hospital and everything. Obviously, Jennifer is like completely like torn. So they're at the hospital and we find out that Jeremiah is going to make a recovery. He's going to make a full recovery. Just, probably just needs to take a few days or something. But, it wasn't fatal or anything. But, unfortunately, poor Khalil, he wasn't even... Anyway, poor Khalil, he sustained an injury to the spine and he may never walk again. So he's paralyzed from the waist down. So there's going to be that. That's going to be, an issue. Obviously, the two of them just started dating and everything. They were, they were all ready to just start, their relationship and all that. And now, things are going to be different. And he's somebody who's also an athlete and all of that. So it's going to really change the dynamic of his character and, of course, his relationship with Jennifer, because I've seen it happen with some of my family members who have gotten really, really sick when they used to be so active and so athletic and everything, and then all of a sudden to not be able to do things on your own, to not be able to move, to not be able to walk or run or anything like that, not be able to do the things that you love to do, it really eats you alive, because it's a part of you is being taken away. So I definitely want to see how that affects the whole dynamic between the two of them. We haven't gotten too many scenes with them, but the scenes that we've gotten are really, really sweet, really cute and everything, but it's going to be really difficult to watch, and it's also going to be interesting to see how the scenes are going to be like how the scenes are going to change from now on, now that Khalil is paralyzed. I don't know if he's going to be able to, I don't know if he's going to be able to walk again. Obviously, we don't know that, but we'll see what they do with the story. Just skip to the last scene. A very interesting scene here, and it kind of peculiar. We see Gamby, and this is the one thing that kind of makes me question him a little bit. Okay, Gamby. He's, I guess he kind of hacked into security cameras, traffic cams, and whatever around the city. Obviously, they have those. And we see him looking at the footage of Tobias in the car and, the whole, shooting. You could clearly see who it was. But then we see him deleting the footage. And that kind of makes me wonder about his character because, obviously this is substantial evidence that could help them put away one of the leaders of the 100. But why, and then for somebody who claims to be on Black Lightning's side, why is he deleting that footage? What is the motive behind that? Is he working with the 100 secretly? And like as a double agent, what is going on? I need to know what's going on. But let me know what you guys thought about it. I'm gonna go and move on to the next video. I gotta get some sleep tonight. Shoot, I might not get any sleep tonight. Anyway, I hope everybody has a great night. All right, take care, and look out for some more videos this weekend. Okay, bye.